Warning, this video contains spoilers for Fallout Season 2, Fallout Season 1, probably Fallout New Vegas, maybe other Fallout games as well. If you haven't seen the Fallout series yet, they're all on Amazon by now. Go watch them. And come back to this video once you're done. Right, hello everybody. Welcome to a video in which I'm basically just going to talk about the Fallout TV show for a bit. It's a review, I guess one could say, of the Fallout TV show. Series 2 has just concluded this past week as I record this. And basically, I'm going to share my thoughts on it. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Firstly of all, the main thing I'll just say, let's get it out of the way. Everything that I kind of loved about Series 1 that I've already talked about, obviously, is kind of the same here. I love the show again. I thought it was brilliant. It's at this point, it's got to be the best video game adaptation ever, right? Like it's so good relative to anything else that's. I mean, I don't know about other game adaptations. There's the Resident Evil movies. I don't think they're very good. There's the Silent Hill stuff. I think there's a Silent Hill film actually out about now, but I've never played those, never watched those. But I have played a lot of the Fallout series, and this adaptation was and continues to be pretty amazing as they go. So, yeah. So obviously we should talk about all the actors and characters. I've got a little slideshow here, so we'll go through. Ella Purnell, brilliant. I thought we didn't maybe see quite as much of her character as we did in Series 1. Maybe I'm misremembering the early episodes, but yeah, she still did a very good job. Norm, pretty cool. This guy's so cool, man. This actor's so good. He was in something like a Disney Channel thing or a Nickelodeon thing, and everybody was like amazed that he was actually a good actor. Who is it? I don't know how to pronounce that. Moises Arias? I apologise if that's wrong, but very good. And I'm quite glad that he got a bit more. I think he got more screen time this time around. I'm not sure. Maximus, I liked his character arc a lot. This series, he kind of became like a proper his own character. He has his own motivations, his own moral sort of like engine, which is nice. And Aaron Moten, very good actor as well. And then my boy Walton Goggins, the ghoul. Walton Goggins, I gotta say, probably he's occupying a space in my kind of actors ranking that was previously occupied by Willem Dafoe, in the sense that he's kind of a weird looking guy with a name that's not quite what it should be. Like Walter, yeah, William, makes sense, but we've got Walton and Willem, you know what I'm saying? But who also just so happens to be like a phenomenally good actor. I mean, he's just consistently so good throughout the entire thing, like it's crazy. And also Macaulay Culkin was in it, and he was very good. He was only in it for like 3 minutes total, but he was kind of sick. And I'm glad that he's getting roles that aren't just like, you know, I'm glad he's getting roles that aren't just like Home Alone. Pretty much. Also, I don't have pictures of all these people, but also another couple people I wanted to shout out. Robert House. How don't I have a picture of Robert House, man? How don't I have a picture of Mr. House? But Justin Theroux did such a great job with Robert House. And I'll say this, I like that they kept the other actor, the body double, Robert House's double. I'm looking at the wiki on the other screen, who was played by Rafi Silva. Yeah, so he was in Series 1 as the representative of Mr. House at the meeting with Vault-Tec. And that's the first time we see Mr. House, which is like huge. And then Justin Theroux plays actual Mr. House. Does a very good job. But I'm glad that the first guy, not only is there a canon reason that there's a different actor, which is very sick, but also, you know, Rafi Silva, he gets his own little role on screen time. He does a very good job of it. Of this guy who's just like, yeah, no, I just do my job, I just play this guy. Very cool. Who else have we got? So there's the Super Mutant, who's Ron Perlman. Very nice to see Ron Perlman. I love Ron Perlman. He's obviously the voice of the narrator throughout the whole thing. So good to see him actually in the show. We had the President of the United States of America. And I recognised him, but I didn't recognise him fully. Clancy Brown. Love that man. Oh, he was also Rhombus in the first game. That's fun. So he was the last president. Whoa, goodness me. Probably also in charge of the Enclave. But Clancy Brown's great. He was in The Shawshank Redemption. He was he in Starship Troopers? I think he was. Is that what it's called? I'm googling things now that are not related. Starship Troopers. If he's not in there. Yeah, he was. Yes, I knew it. That's my boy. And also he's Mr. Krabs, but who cares about that? Yeah, Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs is the president. And then we also had Kumail Nanjiani, apologies if that's pronounced badly, as Xander Harkness from the Commonwealth. Paladin of the Commonwealth. There are some theories that he might be like a synth, which I think is interesting. Yeah, they didn't give away too much about the fate of the Commonwealth in this series. That's definitely something that was interesting about the show in general, but about season 2 as well. They very much wanted to keep it like open-ended in terms of what happened. I don't know if that was the right move necessarily. I think it is cool in some ways because it leaves the world and the wasteland feeling a lot more mysterious. Like, I do think it would have sucked if they just had like a Ron Perlman type narration where they were literally like, you know, here's everything that happened since this time. That would have just been a bit boring. It would have left, you know, if they were like, this is the ending that happened, and then, you know, like the NCR's still around, as we saw in the final episode. The Legion is still around. The Strip has been overtaken by Deathclaws, which is interesting. Mr. House is still around. So it's basically the same as the game, right? Like, it's basically like, you know, there was no winner. Like, I'm just reading here, actually. They very much took the fog of war approach and presented a situation in which 15 years later, every faction might think they won. So, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter who won the Battle of Hoover Dam, because Deathclaws moved in. So the NCR got kicked out, or the Legion got kicked out, or all the Securitrons got kicked out. People tried to kill Mr. House, we know that for a certainty. Caesar died, which was always going to happen because he had a brain tumor. So there's, you know, there is no right answer. But they also made it make sense within the context of the game. And people were mad as well because, like, the NCR were cut off from their reinforcements. There were like these 3 NCR Rangers, and everyone was like, oh, is that the entire NCR? Where's the others? Well, the reinforcements, they probably thought they were coming from Shady Sands, which went kaboom. So no wonder, right? I like the way they did it in the end, because obviously the NCR did turn up at the end, so that was cool. And the shot with the Ranger was very pog as well. Pure, unashamed fan service. But I'm a fan, so consider me serviced is all I'll say. I think the other main weakness of the episode, of the series, I would say, is just that it was too short. It was only 8 episodes long. Each one was like 50 minutes. Just kind of wanted it to be a little bit longer, personally speaking. Maybe another 2 episodes would have been fine, or 4 would have been brilliant. Just have an episode that really delves into the Legion a bit more. Have an episode that delves a bit more into maybe Vegas and Freeside. A bit more of an episode about I don't know, because I think a bit more time and progression with the Buds as well would have been good. With Norm and the managers. Because I'm still not really sure what was going on there. I think, at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, this series was a bridge series. Because nothing really got answered. Like, Cold Fusion ended up with Mr. House. That thread kind of wrapped up almost. We don't know how Moldava was able to be in the Wasteland 200 years later. We don't know who Hank was talking to, and who he was making the little boxes for. Or what really happened when he switched himself off at the end. That was a bit confusing for me. I might not have been paying attention, to be fair. We still don't really know what's going to go on with the Brotherhood. Like, the post-credit scene... I realised I've just been stuck on this picture of Macaulay Culkin the whole time. We don't know what's going to happen with the Brotherhood. There we go, sorry about that, I was getting distracted. Because, you know, at the very final post-credit scene, spoilers again, they're still having the war. And the scribe... I actually don't remember the scribe's name. Is it scribe? The one... Dane. Yes. So Dane goes up to, what's-his-face, Quintus. And Quintus ends up with the plans for Liberty Prime. Very sick. We're going to see Liberty Prime in Season 3, I hope. Probably a final episode thing, but still pretty cool. And, but they're still having their civil war, that's the main thing. Like, they've not won. The Knights of San Fernando, I assume, are fighting the other ones, the Coronado, the Yosemite, and the Grand Canyon. There's this big three-way fight. We also, interesting, while we're on the Brotherhood, we'll talk about the Brotherhood, because they are a sort of weirdly fascinating faction. We never saw anything about the Mojave chapter, which is interesting. But of course, in that sort of fog of war thing, that's the only option they can take if they want to maintain this sort of mystical world in which everybody's ending was somehow true all at once. So they can't say, oh, they got destroyed. Because then the endings where they don't get destroyed are no longer true. And they also can't say that they're still there, they're just being secret, because that cancels out the other ones. So I think that, you know, from what we know, it seems to me that the Brotherhood no longer have much of a presence in the Mojave, necessarily. Or maybe it's just that the Knights of San Fernando kind of moved in and took over from the guys. We don't know. The point, even if they turn up, then Quintus is probably going to want to kill them anyway. And then, of course, there's the Commonwealth Brotherhood thing, where a knight from the Commonwealth turns up because they all want to rebel against the Commonwealth guy. Or they want to rebel against the Commonwealth Brotherhood. For some reason, to become like the total leaders of the Brotherhood. That's what Quintus wants. They wanted to rebel against the Brotherhood, or rather Quintus wanted to unite the Brotherhood against the Commonwealth. Because he wanted to be the leader of the Commonwealth, or the leader of the whole Brotherhood, basically. So the Brotherhood is still in the Commonwealth, because we see Xander Harkness come from the Commonwealth. He's got lots of power armor, he's got a vertibird. Seems likely that that's the case. So it seems like it's an Institute destruction ending. That makes the most sense for me. Just because it kind of keeps things a bit cleaner, because the Institute are a bit of a weird faction, really. So I don't think we need to see them, like, at their full power in the TV show. I actually don't hate if the TV show never goes to the East Coast, to be honest. I think it would be fine. But we know that the Brotherhood in the Commonwealth is kind of the United Brotherhood, or it's like Maxon united the Commonwealth, united the Brotherhood when he became the elder of Owen Lyon's chapter. So we did actually get Arthur Maxon mentioned by name, I think. In one of them they said maybe Maxon will still forgive us, so he should be alive. Kind of sad we didn't get to see him. I think it would have been cool. I hope we see him in Season 3. I hope he turns up like right at the end to be like, what's all this then? With his beard. He'd still be quite young. He'd still be in his like 30s or something. But yeah, the Brotherhood I thought were cool. They're always cool. I like that Max he gets a bit of a spine. Like, basically in the last series, he gets made a knight. Or he sort of pretends to be his knight because he was a squire. And he kind of cheats and he kind of lies and he kind of fails his way to the top. But this time he kind of rejects the Brotherhood in general because he wants to be a better person. And he wants to go find Lucy. And he kills Xander Harkness for wanting to kill kids. And we got to meet Thaddeus again. Gonna say the best character in the show. Who played him? Let's give him a shout out, shall we? Johnny Pemberton. That's my boy. What else has he been in? I do wonder. Oh, it's an Ant-Man. Cool. That's my boy. That's my boy. Yeah, so he was Thaddeus, who was in season 1. I think he was he was an aspirant in the Brotherhood. That's how he knows Max. So he bullies... Oh yeah, he bullies Max initially. And then he becomes Knight Titus's squire. But that's actually Max. And then he's kind of a mutant, but he might not... He's like... Okay. So he's a mutant. But he's also... I think he's going to end up being a bit like Harold, where he's just like a guy who's all messed up. And that's kind of his whole thing, which is fine. But yeah, pretty much, I'd say Thaddeus is probably the funniest character. He's just fun. Like, I'm always just happy when he's on screen, you know? He's just a cool guy. Anyway, so the Brotherhood. Pretty interesting progression. Hope we get to see more of the West Coast Brotherhood and the East Coast Brotherhood in the future. And I want to see the Mojave Brotherhood properly. What else should we talk? I've got all these images here. We talk about the Legion. Yeah. So obviously the Legion turn up, which is nice. Caesar's dead. That makes a lot of sense. Like, I think that's just the only way they could have done that. The whole setup they had, where it was like they're fighting over who gets to be the successor, that's a little bit silly. Like, visually, it just looked a bit ridiculous, didn't it? Like, they're shooting each other over this ditch, basically. But I don't hate it. Like, it makes sense. Like, the idea that... I think it might have even been... Oh, God, what's his name? Is it Ulysses? One of the... I haven't played the DLCs in ages, but one of them says, like, without Caesar... I might have been Joshua Graham, actually. Without Caesar, the Brotherhood would just tear itself apart. Like, he is the only... He is the Legion. He's the only thing keeping it together. And we see also, technically, we have to kind of assume that within the Legion, quite a lot of the high-ranking members are dead. So Caesar's dead. Lanius is dead. Or Lanius isn't around. Which is interesting, because Lanius, ideally, like... You'd think he'd become the new Caesar, right? Or the new Kaiser. Our way, true to Kaiser. But he's not around, which is kind of a good thing, I think. I think it's good if he stays like a bit of a legend. It'd be cool if they were still telling legends about him, actually. Where he's like, he single-handedly killed like 100,000 people at the Battle of Hoover Dam or whatever. Like they were telling about the Burned Man. I think it would be cool if he stayed kind of legendary and kind of obscure. A bit like the Courier. But yeah, Lanius is dead. Wulpez is dead. Or he's not around. Maybe he's just like spying in the Strip or something, or Freeside. That could be fine, honestly. And then we get this guy, the Lacerta Legate. Which is a title? Or is this his name? We don't really know who he is. Nothing is known about his history with Caesar's Legion, says the wiki. So he gained the rank of Legate in service to one of the two figures claiming to be Kaiser. So there was the kind of fake Kaiser, right? There were the two... So there, obviously... There was Edward Sallow, I assume. Yes, Edward Sallow, the original Kaiser from the games. He died. Which makes sense because he had a brain tumour. And then it fractured into two factions. And Caesar had this little note that said, I am Caesar, the Legion is me, it ends with me. Which I feel like in the game he did say he was going to have a successor. Like, I feel like is it Cursor Lucullus maybe said that he had like a list of like potential successors that he was training up to take over when he died. But maybe he changed his mind. Maybe the brain tumor affected his personality and made him all like, yeah, forget it all. Or maybe the note was fake. Maybe it was written by one of the, you know, like Lanius or someone. Who knows? Point is, it doesn't really matter, because in the end, Macaulay Culkin slimes out the original Caesar and becomes the new Caesar. Which honestly just makes sense. Like, have Macaulay Culkin be the Caesar, because he's very cool. He's very kind of smarmy, in a kind of creepy way, that I thought was pretty cool. It would have been too easy to make him really cool. But I like that he's kind of full of himself. He's just like, goodness is no real power in the wasteland. All there is strength and killing. Who cares, bro? Like, shut up already. Interesting. In Fallout Shelter, I'm just seeing this picture. He's wearing Lanius's helmet. Interesting. Anyway, I'm just reading about this interview he did. Oh yeah, he knew that he had to say Kaiser instead of Caesar. What a boy. I love Macaulay Culkin. He's sick as hell. And he did a very good job in this show. Here he is. I think this is him killing some guy who saw the note. And then he ate it. So he gets the note from the dead body. He eats it, even though there's a fire right in front of it, which is honestly hilarious and kind of silly. And then, my god, the best line in the entire series. He's like, we'll take over the Holy Land named Vegas. Very cool, I'm thinking nice. They think of it as a Holy Land. And we'll build a massive palace. Kaiser's Palace. Like, okay, bro. You know what, we'll host a Grand Prix in the car park as well. Anyway, so yeah, that was the Legion. Kind of glad they're still around. I hope we get a bit more into the sort of like the inner bits of the Legion and stuff like Denver and like Colorado and all the tribes. I'm guessing that's what the Ghoul's going to be doing next season, because he's off towards Denver, I think. Colorado. So yeah, very nice to see Macaulay Culkin. Very nice to see the Legion. I like that they're just the bad guys. Like, they're talking about like keeping Lucy as like a sex slave, which is instantly like, okay, they're the baddies. Sick. Like, I like that that's where we stand. Like, there are problems with both. It's actually a line where Lucy says like one of them is straight up evil and the other one are just vaguely problematic, and it's like, yeah, that's the whole thing. You know, people will be like, oh, but they don't like gay people in the NCR, while the Legion are literally this picture of Lacerta Leggett that I've got on the other screen. There are two severed heads behind him, bro. Let me see if I can. Actually, I'm gonna get this picture up on the screen because it's. Yeah, so this is the image I was talking about. Firstly of all, smarmy. Look at his face. He just thinks he's better than you, and also there's just severed heads behind him. Like, this is not a good guy. This is so obviously the villain of the series. Might be the big bad of Series 3. Or it's probably going to be the secondary big bad next to the Enclave. But still, yeah, I like that. Anyway, there he is again. Yeah, Lucy and the Ghoul, they were chilling. I thought it was interesting at the end of that final episode, or sort of in the middle, where he ends up inside the Vault-Tec vault under Vegas, that not even like Robert House could get into or control because it was the Enclave. Spooky. Pretty cool. I like that. It's a good explanation as to why it's not really accessible in the games. Because the Enclave don't really exist in Fallout New Vegas. They do a little bit, but they're just like the remnants. Because they all got wrecked in Navarro. But they clearly still exist somewhere. Like that big facility that we saw. That was really cool. I like that kind of... that struck me as a very cool idea, and I hope we get to see them. But basically, they're in the vault, and Hank's like, I'm going to put this box in your neck. And then the Ghoul just appears out of nowhere and shoots him in the leg. And then he's like, yeah, do what you want, Lucy, see you later. And like, forgetting the fact that she kind of impaled him on a spike in Freeside. I guess maybe he just understood because it was like a family thing, but they never really address it. And then they're probably not going to see each other much in the next series, so it's a bit like, I felt like there's unfinished business there. Or maybe it's just that he now respects her because she finally, by impaling him on the spike, she finally showed him that she has that kind of like Wastelander killer instinct. Maybe that's what it was. That would be cool. But yeah, and then she puts on that yellow dress and has a whole thing. And someone pointed out that the big pivotal moments in her life involving her dad and stuff, they're all to do with it's where she's wearing like a special dress and not the vault suit, which I thought was cool. Yeah. Proper picture of Lucy. I thought she spent a bit too long in the vault with Hank. I thought that was a bit weirdly paced at times. And I'm still not really sure what Hank was trying to do. I mean, he was mind controlling people to make those mind control boxes. What's strange to me actually is that the implication was that it was the Enclave who he was doing that for. Because he was like talking to like, he's like, hey, by the way, he's like on the radio, he's talking to someone. And he says that there were orders from like 200 years ago, which very much says Enclave, because they were the only faction that really existed before the war. Here's the thing though, in the first episode, we saw Mr. House with the box, like using it on people. But that never really gets brought up again. Like, why? Why did Mr. House have it? Was he working for the Enclave? Well, he didn't know about them later on, when he was talking to Howard. Does he know, like, what's going on there? What's the deal? What's the vibes? What's, again, unanswered questions. We had quite a lot of unanswered questions, to be honest, but that just makes me more excited for Season 3, and it now makes kind of perfect sense that they greenlit it before it even came out. There was like that there was that Good Springs event, and I think at least Cooper Howard went to it, Walton Goggins, I should say, and I think Aaron Moten was there as well. And they basically said that Season 3 has been confirmed, like this was like 2 months before the show came out. Season 2 did. Makes sense because this is like a story, you know, the story is developed. Next season I hope we get more answers, I hope we get more episodes, to be honest. I just want to see more of this. But I think we're going to be encountering the Enclave. Liberty Prime versus Liberty Prime? Maybe. Who knows? Well, Liberty Prime was originally a Brotherhood thing. Anyway, I like Lucy's arc. Pretty cool. She did a great job acting. I don't know what to say about it. Like, I kind of just wish we got to see more of her and a bit more sort of interaction with the Wasteland rather than it all being about her dad. You know what I mean? But I also like that she didn't ever really consider joining up with him. She was just, from the beginning, she's like, yeah, you're evil, bro. Like, come on, what are you doing? Just give it a rest, mate. Come on, honestly. I want to shout out the snake oil salesman from the first series who turns up again, because his face is so, like, good, man. Snake oil salesman. This wiki page is annoying me. The Fallout wiki is still on Fandom, which is like the most cancerous website for hosting ever. John Daly. There was that, like, when he was being the, you know, the guy. When he was being in like personnel mode and he was like talking to Hank or Lucy, his face was always just so kind of like brilliantly weird in a way, but in a good way. Also, Fisto was back. Fisto was in it, which was like, again, pure fan service, but just kind of funny that he was there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the Norm, Buds. I like that he basically just chose to open up all the pods for the sake of something happening. I like that it was a bit... You get the impression they were like, this is where we want to go with this, but we need a good reason for it to happen. The writers were. So they just decided the reason to be, I wanted to see what would happen. Oh, you know what? It worked. Genius. Absolute cinema. and then when they all stood on top of each other to get up and out of the vent, he was literally climbing the corporate ladder. You see what they're doing there? Good stuff. Funny. But yeah, I kind of wish we just got to learn a bit more about what he was going to discover, because he read a thing. It was, what was it, Future something Ventures? Future Endeavors Ventures or something, but it turned out to be FEV, and it was actually FEV. Like, I remember when that episode came out, people were like, oh, could this stand for FEV? Could this be a code word? And it was, because on the terminal, it said Forced Evolutionary Virus. But I just wish we got a bit more. I wanted to see what that rest of that terminal entry was. It's like they're kind of like, they're teasing us with it. They're like, look, here's all your favourite things. We've got a super mutant, but he's only in it for one episode. We've got FEV. Oh, but we're going to unplug the terminal and strangle him to death first. Oh, we've got, all this stuff that they're not really delving deep into. I hope they do that in Season 3. Also, what I really liked was that they kind of kept, like, all the Vault Dwellers were very much scaled to be like Vault Dwellers. They were kind of presented as a Vault Dweller, would like a level 0 or level 1 character, in the sense that they all get absolutely annihilated by rad roaches, and like that's it. There's like 5 rad roaches, and they just get absolutely slimed. Whereas, like, in the same episode, Maximus is literally 1v1ing a Deathclaw and, like, cutting his face off. Because Maximus is a Brotherhood Paladin. Not a Paladin. I think he's technically a Knight, but, like, he's just, he's been around the block. He knows what he's doing. He's got sick power armor. So, obviously, he's going to be able to take down a Deathclaw. But then these guys in Vault Suits get wrecked by, like, a level 1 enemy. I like that it's kind of representing the whole spectrum of Fallout players and characters. Something else that people pointed out. Let's go to another image, shall we? Basically, they pointed out that, like, each of the main 3 characters, so we've obviously got Max, Cooper, and then Lucy, right? They each represent a different... Yeah, they each represent a different protagonist from the Fallout series, a series of games. So Lucy is kind of like the Fallout 3 protagonist, the Lone Wanderer, because she's a Vault Dweller who leaves the vault to go looking for her dad, okay? Classic. The Ghoul, which is like not a great picture of him, but Walt, Cooper Howard, portrayed by Walton Goggins, aka the Ghoul. Well, no, Walton Goggins isn't aka the Ghoul, whatever, who cares? This guy, he's kind of like the sole survivor from Fallout 4, because he's a pre-war guy and he's looking for his family, and he's like associated with cryosleep and stuff. Like it kind of, you see what I'm saying? Guess those vibes. And then by contrast, Maximus, he's kind of like the courier, if you think about it, because he's born post-war, not a Vault Dweller. He's just literally a guy who lives in the wasteland. But he's kind of carving his own path, right? Like, he's rejecting the factions, because the courier doesn't really join any factions, if you think about it. And he's doing what he thinks is right, and he's also, travelling across the Mojave to deliver something valuable to whoever he wants, which is a very courier thing to do. I wonder what you could say for Norm in that context. Maybe he's going to go down a Fallout 1 route. He's ultimately trying to save his vault, I assume. He asked Hank what's going to happen to the vault. Maybe he'll become changed by the wasteland and he won't be able to go back. That would be fun. I mean, it would be quite sad, but it would fit the themes. So yeah. What did I think? What else am I going to talk about? So, what do I think is going to happen in Season 3? From what we've seen, it appears that the Enclave are going to be the main big bad. And we've seen that with Clancy Brown. And also I think Barbara said something like... Someone said something along the lines of the fact that, like, the surface is the experiment. the vaults whenever the experiment the surface was, which almost implies that it was the Enclave who dropped the bombs to, like, make the world how they wanted it to be, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense that the Enclave are, like, the actual true big bad, because they are, like, the ultimate villains from the entire Fallout franchise, right? Like, I swear even in Fallout 76, it's the Enclaves, they're the ones who want to drop the bombs again on Appalachia to get, like, ultrasight and stuff. So they're not the good guys. But I'm guessing what we're going to see is... So, I think Cooper... First of all, it's interesting to see how he ends up getting divorced from Janie. Because it seems like... You know, in episode 1, before the bombs fell, he's like a kind of failed actor with his daughter. Wait, no, his daughter's Janie. It's Barbara. Yeah. Barbara's his wife, I think. Wait, let me check. Yes. So, like, he gets divorced from Barbara somehow, but he's still got Janie. It's like, he's a failed actor. We're still not there. Like, that was as far forward in his timeline in the pre-war as we've seen. So we don't know post-war. But we don't know how he gets there. Also, he had Janie with him when the bombs fell. And she ended up in the vault for management, but he doesn't know where she was. How is that possible? Like, I swear episode 1... Yeah, he rides away on his horse with Janie. So it's... Yeah, how does she end up in a vault, but he doesn't know where she is? She must have been taken away thanks to her connection with Barb. Then obviously he doesn't... Yeah, he ends up turning into a ghoul. It's just... It's a bit... Yeah, there's a gap there, and I hope we get to see what that is. And I hope we get to see a bit more of the Enclave. I think I've said that like 1,500 times. Anyway, point is... I'm very excited to see what happens to him in Season 3. I also hope we get to see a bit more of the interior of the Legion. And maybe we'll see Caesar, like, tracking him across Colorado. Probably not, because he wants to get to Vegas, does Caesar, this guy. So maybe we won't see that. But, yeah. I mean, I'm very excited. As for Max, it seems like he's moved away from the Brotherhood. He's going to become kind of a leader of the NCR, given that he was standing toe-to-toe with a Deathclaw, without power armor, using a roulette wheel as a shield and a big spear. That's what the NCR soldiers saw in that amazing scene, best scene in the entire series, in my opinion. That's what they saw. They're going to see him as like a Captain America type. They might make him like a symbol of the new California Republic. So he might become like a bit of a leader. Maybe he won't, but this time he'll have earned it. Rather than kind of cheating his way into it like he did in the first series. This time he actually liberated the Strip from the Deathclaws. But also we see that... I think we see the Legion marching on Vegas as well, so... Probably going to be a battle of the Strip. Should be quite interesting to see. Interesting to see who wins as well. Probably nobody. Knowing this game. Knowing this series. Whatever, you know what I do. Blah, 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 blah. Still. Pretty cool stuff. Very excited to see what happens with that. And also excited to see what happens to the Brotherhood. I think this series could have focused on Dane a little bit more. Again, like another episode with Max and Dane. Like, if we have 4 more episodes, we could have dedicated a bit more time to Max and Dane and their relationship. And how it might have changed. And how Dane doesn't necessarily approve of the way Max is going anymore. With that whole fight and everything, and Quintus calling him his sword and stuff. It's all like... It just doesn't feel as developed as it could have been. Excited to see what happens in Season 3. And yeah, excited to see... I don't know where Norm's going to go, what he's going to do, where he's going to end up. Because he's still in like... kind of Shady Sands, basically. Like on the west coast. He's not going to make it all the way to the Mojave. So I'm guessing he might just run into the NCR as they're trying to like reclaim Shady Sands. That could be interesting. Or he's going to go back to the vault. I think he said, let's get you home. So I think he's going to go back to the vault, but he's going to find it in like absolute shambles. So that might be a bit of a Fallout 3 callback. Could be interesting. Certainly could be quite interesting. Also very interesting character, Betty. No, not Betty. Steph. Who ended up being Canadian. Shock. Can't hardly believe it. Stephanie Harper, yeah, who's like, basically, is she working for the Enclave? I don't, like, I think it seems like, well, she's not associated with the Enclave because she's Canadian, but she uses that radio. Yeah, so Steph and Hank ended up being married beforehand, before the war, which ultimately ends up being all a bit weird. You know? It's all a bit weird. Like, she ends up being... She's married to Hank, but it's clearly just a marriage of, like, survival for her. She doesn't actually love Hank, necessarily. Hank had a Enclave Pip-Boy in the keepsake box. She sends a message to initiate Phase 2, which goes through and gets confirmed. What the heck Phase 2 is, who knows? It's all very kind of mysterious, and like I just want more. I want answers to all these questions. That's how you know they've written a good thing. Because I simply want more. But yeah. Again, I thought she was again very interesting character. Very interesting backstory, and very well acted as well by Annabella Hagen. What else have we got to talk about? We talked about Ella, Lucy, Legion. I love the pre-war stuff. I thought the pre-war stuff, honestly, kind of the highlight of the season, maybe. Like, the way that Jonathan Nolan, the way that Jonathan Nolan and the other people involved, like the set designers, the showrunners, the producers, everybody, like, especially the set designers. Set design's amazing as always. The way they managed to make the pre-war America feel like it feels like the 50s, but it's also not. It's just alien enough that you're aware it's a Fallout thing. And it's, to be honest, it's literally the most we've ever seen of pre-war America in the Fallout franchise, and it's amazing. It's so, like, real, you know? It's so good. I want to live in it. But yeah, like, just like in Season 1, Cooper Howard's kind of two simultaneous stories that he's going through, some of the, like, matching shots between the two of them was so good. And meeting Mr. House and finding out that Mr. House is absolutely insane. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. I also love that Robert House is... he was like super scared of the Enclave. He was like, there's someone else messing with my calculations. I think that really kind of bigs them up as like quite a frightening force, because I don't think in the game he makes you go to all the different factions and recruit them to help fight. But he doesn't do that with the Enclave. He doesn't tell you to go and get them, but you can still recruit them. I think that's because he just didn't know they existed, which is kind of cool. And Justin Theroux's kind of the GOAT. He's been in so many things. Oh my god, he was in American Psycho. And I also know he was in the music video for Hysteria by Muse. Fun fact. But yeah, love Justin Theroux. Love this representation of Mr. House being completely bonkers and goofy. And I love that he can be on a little Pip-Boy. And I love that at the end of this series, they pan out Lucy and Max looking out over the Mojave, and his face flickers up on the screen. Mr. House. He's not gone. He'll be back next season. You know, and he says, everyone works for me in the end. Courier reference. And he also said, Mr. House, that he's been attacked hundreds of times by people with crowbars and guns. It would have been better if he'd said golf club. If I was writing it, I'd have said, I was even once attacked with a golf club, and then it would have been a reference, but you know. Yeah. I just like this series, man. I just wish my only complaint is I wish there was more. And also the pacing's a bit dodgy sometimes. But that's, you know, pretty minimal complaints. That's the good image to maybe end things on. But yeah, in conclusion, do I think this was better than Season 1? I think it maybe lacked a bit of the sort of Wasteland-specific, like, weirdness and mystery. Like, in this feels like... It kind of feels like they were replicating New Vegas very closely, which obviously they were, in the sense that it's a bit more structured. It's a bit more about the factions and their interactions. Like in Fallout Season 1, you know, Lucy was going into like the Super Duper Mart with the weird Mr. Handy and stuff, and that felt like a classic Fallout 1 encounter, or a Fallout 3 encounter. And here there's less of that. And it's more about like the politics and the factions, which feels more like New Vegas. As for Series 3, I honestly don't know what they're going to do. Like, because there doesn't seem to be a super clear direction for all of the characters. It might be the final series. But I'm most excited about the Ghoul going to Colorado. Because I want to see what's going on with the Legion and Colorado. The only other thing to mention, there was that countdown thing that was on the Amazon's page that everyone thought was going to be a Fallout 3 remaster. It wasn't. I still believe the Fallout 3 remaster is going to happen. They would honestly be stupid not to drop it soon. Yeah, I've just googled it and they say it's definitely still happening. Let's have a look at these. There's these old documents where they say Fallout 3 Remaster was supposed to be in 2024. However, everything got delayed by, I think, 2 years or so because of COVID. So the Oblivion Remaster, I think that was last year. Yeah, three years. So Oblivion Remaster was 2025, supposed to be 2022. So it's probably Fallout 3 Remastered might be this year, might be next year, but I think it's still going to happen. And when it happens, viewers, I will play it in full on this channel. You can bet on that, because I love Fallout 3 and I want to play it. But yeah, I think, to be perfectly honest, maybe they'll do it with Season 3, because Season 1 came out 2024? April 2024. Second season was December 2025, so about a year and a half. So it's probably going to be mid-2027 that we're going to get Season 3. Maybe even a bit sooner, because they greenlit Season 3 quite a bit before this one even came out. So yeah, it was confirmed in May 2025. That's crazy. They're like to begin filming in summer 2026. It's going to begin in May 2026. So it's on the way. Can't wait. Cannot wait for Season 3. But I think after that, if Bethesda aren't giving a major update about Fallout 5, then they're actually just stupid. Like, why haven't they done it yet? It's actually been so long. And not only has it been so long, the TV show is so hype. There's literally so many eyes on Fallout, to the extent that Fallout 4 is now in like the top 20 games played on Steam right now. It's literally like peaking because of the show. If they just forgot about Fallout 76, and if they dropped Fallout 5 like a week after Season 3 released, they'd get so many players. They'd get billions of players, trillions of I don't know how that's possible, but they would. But they just don't want to. I don't know why. Bethesda, they just haven't made it yet. I think they're just working on Starfield, even though it stings. Anyway, I don't understand what Bethesda are up to. They need to get a shift on, make that game, because I want to play it, and make Season 3 because I want to watch it. Yeah. But anyway, in conclusion, Fallout Season 2, pretty amazing, loved it. Watched it every morning it came out, because I live in the UK, I had to watch it the morning after, because it released at like 2 AM, and as much as I love it, I have a full-time job. So I don't love it that much. I don't love it enough to be staying up until like 3 AM every day, every week. Still, pretty amazing. It's the best video game adaptation ever, in my opinion. That's just because it's adapted the best video games ever, in my opinion. Teehee. But yeah, let me know what you thought about Fallout Season 2 in the comments. Did you think it was good? What did you think they could improve? What was your favourite moment? What was your favourite line from the entire series? And why was it I Used to Make Money for a Living by Thaddeus? Good one. Yeah, let me know what you thought in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you like Fallout content. I have got some more on the way, I promise. I know it's been a long time. I've been a busy bee, like working an actual job and making actual money. So sorry about that. But I have more Fallout content coming, I promise. It will be coming soon. And in the meantime, watch Fallout Season 2 again, because it's sick as hell. It's so good. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe, all that crap. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.